The Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you from SideQuest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 246. Hello out there, I'm Elliot Jay O'Neill. I'm a host of this thing, I guess. And joining me here as always, except when he's not, is BT Calloway.
Ahoy. Hoy.
And joining us all the way from beautiful Adelaide is Captain Nick.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be back in Podland.
And in pod form, yes. Thank you for joining us today for The Simpsons Index.
Remember Captain Nick? He's back in pod form.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has a new hat.
It's coming. You haven't got it yet. That's why it's new.
hang on.
Check under your seat. Everyone gets a new hat.
Oh, my God.
Why do you have a Woo Girl hat?
This is a hat that's oddly thematically appropriate for our episode. This is
Yeah,
a purple
a lot of glitter.
rhinestone cowgirl hat.
And it's fabulous.
I won't be answering any further questions.
I wouldn't want them.
Well, we do have a lot of questions for you today, so yeah, let's get into the episode we're reviewing. This was Season 34, Episode 18, Fan-ily Feud. First released on April 23rd of 2023, my 37th birthday. How about that?
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, to quote Clerks, I'm 37. Anyway, directed by Timothy Bailey.
Not the Australian weatherman?
Not the Australian weatherman.
You got to check. Every time we got to check.
And written by Brody Gupta in this episode.
Here, weatherman.
No, she is not.
Oh, shit, fuck.
Oops.
Sorry.
Oops.
To be fair,
Sorry, Brody.
Brody, where are you going with that?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Brody.
Yeah, in this episode, Homer is caught on camera saying bad things about the Taylor Swift-like pop star and catches the eye of her rabid fan base. And the one who's leading all the pranks and stuff on Homer turns out to be Lisa. But then Bart wants to join Lisa because he can do a bunch of pranks on Homer now that he couldn't before because now he has an army at his disposal. But Bart and Lisa bond until they don't. And also, in the meantime, Homer catches the attention of a pop star that has beef with the other pop star, and they
You can
join
slowly
forces.
see
And
the recap deflating as we go.
Oh, man.
as with the episode, hey guys, what'd you think?
Look, I have to say,
Yeah.
I actually kind of enjoyed this one. For the most part, I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think for the most part is a fair enough quote. At a certain point, it was just like, oh, this is all we're doing with it, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
we found all your pieces already. Neato.
Yeah, it definitely reached a point where I was like, wow, there aren't really any stakes in this and nothing really makes sense, but partly because I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. And it was really interesting because obviously, like, I'm a card-carrying, hand-on-heart Taylor Swift fan, and this episode is objectively making fun of me and the other Taylor Swift fans. But the way that they did it, by leaving little references and hints and clues, like she does, it meant that I was doing the Taylor Swift fan thing of like, oh, that's a reference to this, and hang on, in the background there's the sign that says that, and that's a reference to this thing that she did. And so I ended up doing the Swiftie thing of like connecting red string on pinup boards and stuff in an episode that was making fun of Swiftie fans for doing that.
All right.
And so then I ended up getting so wrapped up in the meta-ness of the episode that I actually had a really good time with it.
I appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah, like when I invite guests on, I like to try and at least attempt to cater an episode to them, especially for these situations where for most of the episode I could honestly say I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, it just felt like references on references and references to something that I do not get. And like, I've got nothing against Taylor Swift, really. Like, her music is pleasant to listen to, but like, I don't go out.
That was the sound
seek
of
it.
Elliot treading lightly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, someone will now re-edit this and cut to a previous recording where I called her Tadoff Switler or something.
Why do we make a whole podcast about that? I don't remember.
Oh, God. And now,
Exclusive on the Patreon.
and Danny didn't even have to go to AI to make you say that.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
just said it.
Yeah, it's right there.
So yeah, I've got no stakes, but like, it often, like, when the news or whatever passes my eye or whatever about like something that rabid fan base of pop star, like, I just don't comprehend the headline enough to care to keep reading, so I am glad to have you on today to help fill in the blanks a bit on this one, Nick.
Yes.
Because, yeah. But yeah, first question on the questionnaire. How long did you spend in queue to get your Taylor Swift tickets for her upcoming tour?
Okay, interesting modified questionnaire. I assume everyone gets this question now. I spent
Statistically, yeah, the majority of people that I'm ever going to ask on this podcast, according to the ticket sales alone, yeah, probably tried.
Oh, yeah, true.
Look, I briefly tried. We'll get into that in a second.
What?
Elliot.
Really? Okay, we'll get back to that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So yes, I got tickets for night one in Melbourne. I sat at my computer at work for about 5.5 hours in the queue.
Mhm.
And then I reckon about 4 hours and 15 minutes into sitting there, the message on the splash page changed and it said, normal tickets sold out. It's now only hotel and VIP packages. And I was like, well, I'm just going to sit here until it says no more tickets available. I've been here for 4 and a bit hours already. What the fuck else am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then as I was explaining that, to one of my colleagues that I'm just going to sit here until it says no more tickets available, she points at my screen and she's like, have you just loaded through to the ticket sale page? I turned around back to my computer and I'm like, oh my fucking God. So I ended up getting a hotel package, which is fine because I don't live in Melbourne, so I need a hotel there anyway. And I've got A reserve tickets, which is like the highest level of ticket you can get.
Nice.
Oh, fuck yeah.
The fact that I spent 5.5 hours in the queue and still walk away with A reserve tickets is insane.
Is madness.
So
nicely done.
pretty happy with how that turned out, actually.
Yeah, like, I mean, the only thing close to that I had recently was the fucking big Blink-182 tickets. And also, first of all, has the honor of being like, this is the longest lead-in time that I've ever had to, like, ticket bought to concert happening, because that's in 2025, right? Like,
No. So it's February 2024. It's the same Blink of the same week that I'm seeing Taylor Swift.
Holy shit.
Wow.
That's a big week for you.
I see Blink-182 on the Sunday, and then on the following Friday, I see Taylor.
yeah.
And Tom from Blink-182 and Taylor Swift are both born on December 13.
You have been given the red string a workout.
Yeah, man. I wasn't kidding.
You know, if this was the index of old where we were comparing episodes, I really should have matched this up with the Blink-182 one, but we already reviewed it.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Tom and Taylor born on December 13. You're hearing it more and more.
What about your other fandoms? Where does Ariel Winter fit into this?
Jeez, someone's been looking at my reddit.com subscriptions. I don't have tickets for anything that Ariel Winter's in. She has put out a couple of movies recently that I haven't gone to see because I don't like movies. But yeah, no, you're right though, because the Blink tickets, I think that was October 2022 that the Blink tickets went on sale for a gig in February/March 2024.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, I spent a long time trying to get those tickets as well. But that was one of those things where it'd be like, oh, okay, this date is up for sale and it's gone. This date is up for sale and it's gone.
And
so I ended up getting like the 5th night or something like that. Like,
yeah, jeez. I was just going to say the interesting thing, and this can probably be cut out of the episode, but just because we're catching up with friends, the interesting thing about the Blink thing is that when I bought them, because I'm a huge Blink fan as well, I was like, yes, need these tickets. But in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, but they're probably going to be shit, though.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months ago when they played the Coachella set and that whole set was up on YouTube, sat down one Saturday afternoon with a beer, watched the whole set start to finish, and the whole time I had a huge grin on my face, just like, this is fucking sick.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually going to be really, really good, even though I was worried it was going to be shit.
No,
Nice.
I mean, I can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be a huge moment. But yeah, BT, bring it back to you. What?
Yeah. So I rock up to work one morning and my boss is sitting there and he's got the 3 office computers all set to Ticket Tech or Ticketmaster or whatever. And he's got his phone on constant refresh. And he's like,
Dear God.
right, I'm going to be here if you can take care of as much of the shop floor as possible. I'm like, yeah, of course, man. We're
Is
doing
this legal?
I think he was expecting me to take the piss. I'm like, no. I'm friends with Swifties. Don't worry, bro.
Yeah.
I got you back. And so that was going on. And he was there for, 5 hours or something and didn't get through. But at a certain point, especially like the 3-hour mark, I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if I just tried on my phone and got through immediately? And so I could just walk up and go, oh, there you go. and just, it would be good for comedy.
Yeah,
So
it would.
Yeah, so I did briefly try, just get on my phone, load up, and just let it sit for a second just to see if randomly it pops. And no, it did not. Unsurprisingly, of course. But for shtick, it would have been good.
It's interesting that you say randomly it pops, though, because Ticketek did confirm that it wasn't a queue. It was just a randomly selected pool. So
wow.
You had as much chance of getting through as he did, except that he was using 5 devices.
That's the thing. And it would have been funny.
And it would have been funny. Dear Ticketek, this would be funny.
I know.
Please.
Well, I had to explain to someone once that I'm not necessarily accident prone, but I am slapstick prone. So the kind of thing that would inevitably just be kind of funny to have happened is more likely to happen to me.
And so then as you're walking across the shop floor to hand him your phone, you fall into an open sewer and die.
I slipped a banana, right into an open sewer, which we just put there. I don't know why.
Every time we're passing a construction site and they're like taking out the front face of a house, I'm like, BT, other side of the road.
Yeah, and I'm busy reading the newspaper and I don't notice that I've walked onto an I-beam, which is getting lifted up above the city and swung around. And I'm like, oh, you see this thing in the paper? Fascinating. Yeah.
But the crazy part is when he does walk in front of the face of the house that's falling down, he just goes straight through an empty window cavity, brushes dust off his shoulder and keeps walking. He didn't even know that a house fell on him.
That rapscallion me.
Meanwhile, the chimney has absolutely decimated me. Anyway, this episode. Like I said, I'm glad to have you here to fill in the blanks. I guess the main question about the plot of this episode that I don't quite understand is there a competing pop star that also has the ire of Taylor Swift, that also has a army of fucking mobilized pranksters or whatever?
Come on. I know this.
Not really with pranksters. There's a couple of things that I think this episode is making allusions to. There was a beef between Taylor and Katy Perry in the past, because Katy Perry stole one of Taylor Swift's backup dancers. The backup dancer quit the tour early. That's what they wrote. What Taylor wrote the song "Bad Blood" about, and then I forget what Katy's response song.
"Swish Wish Bish," I believe. It's significantly worse.
Yeah, you're unlocking a Todd in the Shadows memory.
I was about to say that's where I get all my info.
Do you watch Todd in the Shadows, Nick?
No, I watched Todd in the Shadows. It just sounds like some guy who's not properly lit.
I mean, accurate. No, he's a YouTuber who does a lot of music reviews, and most famously does One Hit Wonderland, which covers bands and artists known for only one song. More importantly, does Train Records for our purposes, where it covers just albums that tanked hard. And Katy Perry's Witness was a very good episode and very interesting. Recommend.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't much care for his music reviews, but One Hit Wonderland and Train Records are just, very well put together, 15 to 20 minute documentaries on, these parts of music history that usually get by me, as it seems.
Yeah, totally. And then I guess the other feud is the Kanye and Taylor thing.
Oh, sure.
About, him interrupting her at the VMAs, and then he wrote Famous, and then him released an edited video where Taylor was made. Well, it appeared that she was agreeing to the song being released, but then when the unedited video came out, didn't agree. That whole thing as well. And there have been some really unpleasant examples of his fans coming out for her, but I mean that's all very, very in the past, and it felt like an episode that had a lot of modern references in it. So I don't necessarily think they're going back to the Kanye kind of feud thing, but. That's the other big one.
All part of the tapestry.
It's a rich tapestry, yeah.
A lot of glitter.
Yeah, because I do feel because I didn't really hate this episode either, but I feel like my enjoyment of it would be improved if I had any fucking idea of any of the references that were making.
The idea there's a lot of background references has improved this episode in my eyes entirely.
Yeah, because even at one point, some of the girls are wearing T-shirts that have references to Taylor songs or Taylor tour names or, references and things like that. So just being on the lookout for all of those things made this really enjoyable for me. And also, I have to say, the glitter song at the start absolutely fucking bangs. I paused the episode to pick up my guitar to figure out that song, because I was like, man, for a silly little throwaway pop song, this is actually pretty cool.
Wow, not since We Put the Spring in Springfield has inspired you to learn a song from The Simpsons, but Wow, season 34 might be your one.
Maybe.
God, you have been on his Reddit page.
What about the other two songs in the episode? Because
Skip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially the last one. The one that's meant to make me feel the most hit me the least.
So my note, because this is the first time I've watched one of these episodes sitting at my computer. So I was typing in Notepad rather than scrolling on a notepad. Isn't it funny the way technology changes? But my notes here says that Homer's song at the end really confused me because I found myself almost feeling affected by it emotionally, despite me very clearly not wanting to feel affected by it emotionally because it was a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, because it's, Dan Cass singing in the Homer voice, which can work, but, they're also doing it with, a modern styling and a modern production, which calls for a bit of auto-tune, which really fucking hit my ear weird and grated down my spine in a way that I hadn't had since we had kind of the inverse effect when we reviewed Simpsons Sing the Blues on Murph's Tavern the other week. It was when he was singing Born Under a Bad Sign, it's like, ugh, you haven't figured out the voice. This is the wrong key, wrong song, all that. But this one, it was like, oh, you're fitting Homer into this and it still does not work.
Yeah, and I felt like the song picked up in the second half when it was the other female pop star that was doing the singing with Homer doing little ad-lib bits over the top. The song really, really picked up at that point because the first half, and I think you guys have talked about before, when they do a joke that is bad on purpose, we still have to sit there and watch the joke.
Yeah.
The first half of Homer's song was bad on purpose, and we had to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
But that really pissed me off.
Yeah, and then right at the end when they're going for the key schmaltzy moment, they mix in a bunch of old clips and go to the 4.3, and it was like,
that threw me. I wrote that down. Aspect ratio flip. What the hell?
And especially when this was in so the context of this was it was Homer's I've been dissed track to get back at the family to make them realize what a horrible thing they'd done. So
what a plot this episode has. Yeah, sorry, go on.
It was a music video that Homer had put together with the help of the other pop star.
Yep.
But then it had clips from the show, like them being, the baptism in the river and when Homer jumps in front of the holy water.
Yeah.
It had scenes for like Lisa being scared of the zoo and running over. Those are now appearing in a music video. Who filmed them?
Yeah, there's always that. And
where was the camera?
Yeah, for the rest of it, you could at least presume, they built a Simpsons home set somewhere and they drowned it and whatever. But
what
this one is
because when Ashley releases her diss track, whatever, about Homer, and it's got actors standing in as Homer and Marge, and that's funny. But then they just don't do that for this one, which would have been completely acceptable to have, here is the closest comparison we had.
Yeah, where's that Estonian guy as well that was playing Lisa in that one episode? Bring him back.
Yeah, or you have Homer being, chiseled and ripped because that's how he cast himself or something. Or I don't know. There's the opportunity, and even just the visual of them getting it close but not quite right would be funny.
And because Ashley's song, which was a clear reference to Taylor's All Too Well 10-minute version, which was one of the vault tracks on her re-recording of Red, where she took All Too Well, which is a very sad song and it's a fan favorite. There have always been rumors about there was a 10-minute version that the record label made her cut down. So she released the full 10-minute version and then turned it into a 15, 16-minute mini movie.
Yeah, wow.
And some of the scenes in Ashley's music video, I forget what that was. The Way We Were, I think hers was called. Some of those scenes were a direct one-to-one rip-off of the All Too Well 10-minute version music video.
And whose head did Taylor's hand concave their fontanelle in? Sorry, I didn't structure that sentence well.
Okay.
To be fair, you have to remember the word fontanelle real quick.
Yeah.
That bit wasn't one-to-one. But because in that one, that song was about her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal going wrong. And so, there's an actor that kind of is like a red-headed version of her, and then an actor that kind of looks a little bit like him. So when they get in Ashley's song in this episode, when they get a drawing that kind of looks like a wonky Marge and a drawing that kind of looks like a wonky Homer, It was all like it was references on references, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay.
It's a reference you understood all too well.
Yeah, because that one was like weird to me. It was like almost lyrically coming off like a Weird Al song, which I mean I wouldn't mind, but
Yeah,
like,
I had the same moment.
yeah. But then there was one particular line which really got me, probably more than it should have, which was Homer sits down for number ones, but he stands up to make number two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Simpsons. Bedroom Philosopher did it. In their song, I'm So Postmodern, he has the line, I'm so postmodern, I sit down to do wheeze, and I stand up to poo at job interviews.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh, I'd
Yes.
forgotten all about I'm So Postmodern.
Yeah, I missed all the Taylor Swift craze, but yeah, you're not going to get a Bedroom Philosopher reference past me.
Wow, that's outstanding.
Damn.
You know, he and Josh Earl grew up in the same town. Comedian. Anyway.
No,
Yeah.
Josh Earl's great. Would love to have him on the show.
Yeah,
Might
Josh.
cut this, but I asked him and he said he would, and that was in 2021. And that's the last I heard from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to this episode, let's start the questionnaire. BT, do you have a
20 minutes
moment
in.
that stands out to you from this one?
I'm going to start with one, a visual gag I quite liked, which is Lisa's eating from a can of Pringles, and they say, wider can for plus-size hands. I'm like,
Sure,
okay,
I'd buy that
that's
edition
pretty
of
fun.
Pringle.
Well, again, as always, the kind of like sign writing and background gags in this one was pretty well on point.
Yeah, I feel like Pringles, like cream eggs, are one of those things that they're getting smaller, right? Not just me getting bigger.
Oh, they're definitely getting smaller. Yeah.
Yeah. No, reintroduce the big Pringle.
There was another good can joke at the end when Homer was eating beans directly out of a can, and the brand was No Frilly Chili.
Oh, nice. How about you, Nick? Is there a moment from this episode that stands out to you?
The moment that stood out to me is when they started, when the rabid fandom started doing all the pranks on Homer. They, I don't know, got him to a point where his car was only capable of playing that one song, that glitter song.
Yeah.
And then he crashes his car. His airbag has a glitter cone in it that causes glitter to go all throughout the car. So for a start, they've tampered with his car.
Yeah.
Which started confusing me about exactly what level these pranks were being played on. But then we started seeing all these little black birds that kept attacking him. And it took me so long to realize that they were starlings because the pop star's name is Ashley Starling. I literally have a note in all capitals that says, "Oh God, they're starlings. The birds are starlings." That was the moment that stood out for me because they never actually flag that. It's just something that you have to piece together.
And the birds are there a lot. So.
Yeah.
The birds are there so often.
Yeah, it's one of my questions on the modified questionnaire. Nick, what with all the birds?
Nick, fuck are the birds doing here? Yeah, no, it's because they were starlings.
Right.
Right.
And,
I
I
mean-
don't know that we made this clear because we keep alluding to Taylor Swift more than like the actual
Ashley,
pop
what's
star.
her face?
Yeah, the pop star that they're using in this episode is called Ashley Starling, and her nemesis is Echo. Joke I liked, who had her name legally changed to do that. I like that.
Yeah,
That was a good
to
joke.
give everything an echo. There was even a good visual later where her studio sign says Echo Studios. And the font gets smaller. I'm like, okay, that's good.
I didn't see that. That's good.
Very quick.
Yeah, so I think the thing that stands out to this episode to me, man, yeah, I kind of like the whole Bart and Lisa bonding over this sort of thing. Even though it's kind of weird that she's really leading the charge against her dad, but
Yeah,
I guess
I thought
she's finally got
for
friends in her life or something.
That was the thing. I thought for sure we get a revelation at some point that Lisa doesn't really care too much about Ashley Starling, but she likes having friends, and the fandom is how she's doing that. No, it's not there at all. I thought for sure we'd be going for that. Jazz loving Lisa.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Alright,
she's clearly like part of the rabid fan base, and says in the episode has been fan of her since she was 4 or whatever, and had a Ashley Starling lookalike at her birthday party or whatever.
It just seemed like a plot, the plot untaken.
But then, yeah, she doesn't quite have the same ire or desire to do pranks against Marge for her betrayal as well. Again, I'm assuming the red dress as well is an allusion to something. That feels Taylor something.
Oh, but Taylor had an album called Red. But I think giving the red dress was... I actually took that more as a reference to Swiftmas. So in 2014, so what you have to understand is Taylor used to be, so about 10 years ago, Taylor used to be really, really active on Tumblr to the point where she was regularly conversing with some fans, and that she was tracking them and recognized them and knew their stories and stuff like that. So then in Christmas 2014, she started sending out these packages to fans all around the country, possibly even internationally. And it would be like, I know you have a kid recently, so here are some little baby clothes and I hope they fit and blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, I saw from one of your photos that you have, a kind of beige theme in your lounge room. Here are some cushions that might work. Like, stuff that was showing that she was paying a lot of attention to the fandom. So when the dress rocked up for Marge and it was a gift from Ashley Starling saying, oh, I heard your comments about me, blah, 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 I took it as a reference to swiftness.
All right, we're going to need you to make a list of all the Swift suffixes and prefixes.
Swiftness.
It feels like we're missing out on a part of language here what we might need to understand.
You got to look in the Swifttionary.
It works.
Taylor Swifttionary.
The Thesaurus. Yeah, we know.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Wackiness. Was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
I'm still getting over that last fact. Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like Homer goes to the vending machine to get flaming hot Oreos, which I quite like the sound
I like
of.
that as well.
But then as he goes to reach into the vending machine to pull it out, a flock of starlings come in, eat everything in the machine, and fly out again. Like,
leaving only veggie sticks or something. I don't know what it was.
Celery sticks from a brand called Austerity Farms, which I enjoyed. But that is a very complex series of pranks that this fandom is now pulling to the point where they seemingly have like psychic control over this flock of birds.
Yep. Who knew starlings were so easily to manipulate?
Even hacking his radio in his car to only play one song that's an effort. That takes
the fact that this generation knows how to work a radio. Does Taylor Swift even go on the radio? I don't know.
I heard one of her songs on Cole's radio yesterday.
Oh yeah. So that's the other thing. I'm sure, if you played me the Spotify top stream Taylor Swift songs, I probably do know them from osmosis or whatever. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Osmosis is that DJ you listen to, right?
Oh yeah. Sworn enemy of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, they feuded way back.
And the Crows left a note at one point that I'm pretty
Starlings,
sure was.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, sorry.
We've identified them.
The Will Smith reference?
Yes. Okay. That's what my immediate thought was as well.
Nothing to do with the Taylorverse, as far as I can tell. Just a Will Smith reference. Keep Ashley's name out of your beak.
Yeah, but Homer doesn't have a beak. Are starlings stupid? They seem pretty smart.
I think starlings might be stupid.
I'm impressed they wrote anything at all.
I'm surprised. Yeah, they have such a deep love of culture that they're like, oh my god, that pop star, her last name is our thing. And we also saw that Will Smith slap.
Well, the world saw that slap.
Yeah.
If that's the case that the birds knew that this Ashley Starling pop star shares their name, why didn't they make a Sheryl Crow joke? I mean, it would make me happy, so it can't be that bad.
Oh, fuck.
Yes! Oh, he did it. Everyone punch your bingo cards. He did it.
Fuck. Just for the listeners at home who can't see the video, both BT and Elliot recoiled in horror when I made that joke.
A mix of horror and respect, Correct. I'm correct.
No, I mean, it's great because, podcasting, at the end of all things, all I want to do is have some fun, so...
Hey.
Oh, yes. Back with the boys, riffing.
Let's riff right into the heart of this episode. How was the emotional moments?
I mean, it was sweet to watch Bart and Lisa work together on a task. We love watching Bart and Lisa work together on a task.
Yeah.
It did feel a little unearned because... I mean, the episode framed it as a surprise that it was Lisa who was spearheading this whole thing, so it kind of felt unearned that she had so much hatred towards Homer, whereas Bart's pranks towards Homer have never come from a place of hatred, they've come from Bart being an asshole.
Yeah, and also then to immediately have Lisa go, I feel like I'm really learning from you, and then Bart's out of the group because he didn't like another group member's dog fast enough, and I was just like, shouldn't it be more revealed he doesn't actually care about Ashley Starling or whatever, or something?
Yep, something relevant.
I feel like they get close, though, because, like, at the start of the episode, you know, Homer's like, what is this thing? And Bart, like, reveals his true opinion.
Yeah.
And then when Homer's asked about it on camera, he just says Bart's
Repeats
opinion
Bart's
verbatim.
opinion,
To which Bart, you know, has a very much, his response is like reading a prepared statement in a hostage situation. So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like they were close to getting to that sort of angle on the story where, yeah, the Sterlings. Is that what they're doing? Because Swift is a type of bird. Okay. Sorry, I'm just putting things together as I'm talking.
Is Swift a type of bird?
Yeah, Swifts.
Oh, yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah. They're one of those pain in the ass ones that build like little clay nests in roofs and shit.
Roofs and shit.
Yeah, and so then like governments have to put up those like little spiky things in like little roofs cavities
Roofs.
to stop the swifts.
Roofs.
Stops the Swifts.
I didn't realize that you became a dog when talking about the thing above a ceiling.
Or British.
Roof.
Or a British dog.
There's no room
Roof.
in the roof.
Yes, I'm slowly turning into a British bulldog. Yeah.
knew
I somehow have spent my entire life not knowing that Swift is a type of bird. Like I literally got to the Elliot, you know how you have one of your common complaints is people who spell Elliot incorrectly with 2 T's?
Those bastards.
How does it make you feel that one of Taylor Swift's backup singers, she's called Elliot with 1 T and an E on the end?
Elliot?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's real fucking... If you're a Community fan, I'm Kendra with a QU. Like, it has that real vibe about it to me.
Oh, actually, no, sorry. I've just looked it up and I've sent you a screenshot of this as well. It is... I'm completely wrong. It is 1 L, 2 T's, and an E on the end.
See, the name just looks off balance to me.
Elliot.
Like, it feels like it's about to fall over on the 2T side, you know?
It's Elliot.
Yeah, Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot... Oh, that's so weird. I mean, it looks Frencher. Like, I'll say that.
It does. If anything, it looks too French.
None of that for you, you British bulldog, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm meant to spell that second T with a baguette or something.
Get up on the roof, Elliot. Eh?
And get up and dance for your supper.
Yeah, I suppose that's how they spell baguette, right? Double T-E at the end. So, yeah, Elliot. So, yeah, same sort of T as I would baguette. Anyway, where were they?
I don't know. That was a sidetrack, but sure.
It sure was.
Sorry.
But no, it feels like they, like, just kind of, to your point, Nick, manufacture Bart and Lisa's falling out a bit just so the whole family's fighting by the time that Marge gets reintroduced to the story.
You alluded it to yourself. Have someone show, cell phone footage of Bart at the game saying that stuff about Ashley. What's her face? God, I've lost everyone. I was like, Ashley Swift? No, that's wrong. Or something. I don't know. It's just weird that it's not part of the plot. It's just this extraneous other thing that makes them sound like they're obsessed about everything, not just, one pop star. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, playing both Ashley Starling and her rival Echo 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 is Jade Nova, who is an R&B singer, and
did a good job.
Yep, she had a perfectly serviceable voice.
Absolutely. And Billy Eichner was apparently in this episode as well. I didn't catch when it was.
I think he was one of the friends of Lisa's.
Oh, that makes sense.
But barely in it. If that was a guest voice, it was not worth it.
Ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
The veneer, the gloss, the glaze, yes. I feel like there's no depth, or at a certain point I just wrote, this is not developing. Like, there's nothing new is happening at a certain point. It's like, oh, this is everything we're doing with this episode. All right, cool. And it's not like we need super depth or anything. There's not a lot of commentary. There's not a lot of heart moments. It's just stuff happening.
It feels a bit first drafty.
Yeah.
It feels a bit like, should we do an episode about Taylor Swift? Yeah. Okay. And then everyone kind of bashed out their first thought ideas, and there was no deeper, like, underlying current. But, I mean, I don't know. It's so tricky for me to answer does it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Because when you see the title card that says The Simpsons, your initial reaction is, well, yes, this is therefore logically an episode of The Simpsons.
But did it feel?
That's the thing. You got to lean into it. And I guess superficially, like what BT said, superficially, yes.
was actually surprised that it ended up feeling like more of a Simpsons episode than I expected it to from the outset. Like, I thought it was just going to blow up and be really sort of get too big for the episode to handle. But I do like how they anchored it with the family. Like, it wasn't always successful and didn't like follow the path that I thought it might, but like that they had the beats of like a old Simpsons where it'd be like, yeah, we do have a family conflict where they're all fighting with each other at the, end of the second act. Like,
look, there's even something there to the idea that the heart payoff is Homer just forgiving them mostly, and that's nice. It's just that how they did it is really boring. Like, his song, none of us really liked all that much, even though the emotional impact is a good idea. And even the few interfeuds between the family members, like Lisa kicks Bart out of the group, but she doesn't dislike him personally. Or there's no, whereas if Bart had been caught saying things against Ashley What's-Her-Face, then there'd be some animosity between them. And there's kind of that hint between Marge and Lisa, because, Marge got to go on the fancy Swiftmas date. I feel like I'm going to learn so many words I will never use again. And again, some aggression there. And then Homer's example of forgiving them all makes them all forgive each other. They all hug. They all drink lemonade. The end.
Yeah, it's a bit too, manufactured. And, it's highlighted the fact that, he went to a billionaire to make, manufacture an ending for this episode. Like, yeah, it didn't feel like we actually resolved anything. But ultimately, would you watch it again?
I probably would, to see if there was anything I missed in the first time around.
Yep, you've still got more red string.
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor Swift brand red string.
I would buy it.
Yeah. Commemorating the Red album with red string.
Correct.
Yeah. What was I saying? God, I would want to watch it again with a Swiftie and have them explain shit to me. I'd be like, oh, that's neat. Because whoever wrote this is in deep. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And there was a couple of interesting things. There was one line, I forget who said it now, but someone said, her songs teach us good things like never dating John Mayer.
Yeah.
So John Mayer, he's got a couple of songs about him on Speak Now. Speak Now, Taylor's version, the re-recording has just been recently released, like within the last month at the time that we're recording this. And that comment hit really interestingly because on the tour that she's currently doing, every night she plays two secret songs. So there's one on guitar, one on piano. And then she recently played Dear John, which is a pretty scathing song if you look at the lyrics and think that it's a song about a relationship breaking up with John Mayer. But because she'd seen what happened, so even as casual observers of this Swiftyverse, you would have seen all the Jake Gyllenhaal talk when Red, Taylor's version, got re-released, because he's got a couple of songs on there that are also pretty scathing. And lots of Swifties, the rabid fan base, were going after him. But she specifically made a point before playing Dear John as a secret song to say, I wrote this song when I was 19. I don't really care about what happened to me when I was 19. I just want to own this song, which is why I'm doing my version of the re-recording. Do not go after whoever you think this song is about online. I don't need you to fight for me. And then I watched this episode where they're like, teaches us not to judge John Mayer. And it's like, okay, this was clearly in the can and possibly even broadcast before that speech was made. But it's like, it lands interestingly having now heard that speech.
Yeah, because that's the one thing I gathered at least from Taylor Swift is that, she's not actually asking her fans to go out and, crash cars and things like that. But so it's interesting that the episode did make the choice that Taylor Swift kind of kidnaps Marge and drugs her, like, to get the info.
Yeah, with sparkling whiskey.
Sparkling whiskey.
Ashley Starling has her own brand of sparkling whiskey. So presumably, though, that's not, like, she doesn't say it's a sparkling whiskey drink or like a premixed cocktail. That is just carbonated
a glass
whiskey.
of whiskey.
That's I'm not sure that whiskey has the structure to be able to carbonate.
Look, anyone with a soda stream and a bottle of Jack Daniels want to let us know how this works out.
I do have a soda stream.
Probably don't, but I'm curious.
I once tried to carbonate Lipton iced tea. The problem with that is I think that the sugars in the iced tea kind of created like some kind of structure that caught the bubbles and it really overcarbonated and then kind of sprayed iced tea like all over the room.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I don't recommend I don't recommend carbonating things that aren't water.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, and it seems like such an expensive risk to take as well.
Mm.
Alcohol's expensive in Australia, people. But yeah, what would we change? BT, what would you like to change about this episode?
It just needs a few more pass-throughs, and it significantly changed that last song especially, because it did not work for Homer at all. Look, the bones of it are fine. It just needs a better ending, and honestly, make with a laugh, because I blew some air out of my nose, but that's about the most I got. And I don't know, there's just maybe even an entirely different, second act. Like when Homer gets abducted by Echo and not abducted, but brought. No, actually, he does get abducted by her. And like, oh, you get to join my army of all who are also going to fight. So it was just, I kind of resigned a little at that point. It was like, okay, this is what we're doing, right? Okay.
Oh no, she had the kind of good line that the frenemy of my frenemy is my friend or something like that. No, that elicited a snort out of me. Yeah.
But it was more the sense of, I know where this is going now.
Yeah.
Like, it's now pointless escalation until we do something stupid.
How about you, Nick? What would you like to change about this one?
There were a few too many jokes about songs about ex-boyfriends for me. It's a really old, hacky trope about Taylor to say, all she does is write songs about her ex-boyfriends. Yeah, all anyone does is write songs about their exes. What a stupid criticism. That's the only other thing that I would look at changing is at one point, one of the pranks starts going wrong in the bowling alley, and Lisa says abort, and I almost wanted a "we're out of abort license plates" joke. But I also know that if they made that joke, I actually would have hated it.
Yeah.
And I think that is the problem with a lot of modern Simpsons, is that the idea is kind of fun to go, oh, fuck, they should say abort license plates. Like that old thing that happened. But then when you actually put it in the script, it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it just comes back to having a few more passes at this one, because it feels like they've kind of got the beats in place. They just need to be tweaked. And Homer's whole taking a stand of, an opinion that he was just parroting from Bart, like, it's kind of weird that he sticks to his guns on this one, and like, it doesn't just sort of say, oh, look, I don't know. Like, there's just kind of a few logic holes in this one, as well as like the rushing of Bart and Lisa's falling out in this episode. And especially because they're bonding in a new, unique way that they haven't really before in the series to, all these pranks on Homer. And then, I just kind of want a bit more of Homer being like, what the fuck are you kids doing this to me now? Like, I like the idea that this episode is about a bigger thing of this fandom coming after Homer, but it ends up being like a small family story. I like that, but I just don't feel like they landed it.
No.
And I'm not sure if this was a Disney Plus thing, but was there no couch gag, no intro?
It's a fucking trend of the 30s, man.
Yeah.
So
they just have so much episode, they just go straight in.
But they don't, because
that's the thing.
Really don't.
So much of the story was empty and rushed and missing linking components, and there was so much that they could have expanded on. It felt
you are echoing our exact comments of this entire season. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. That's. I mean, if it's already been said, it's been said. But it used to be the case of, oh, here we go, we've got the circus intro because they've had to pad out the episode.
Yeah,
those episodes were more dense in story than this one was. Is time not operating on the same plane for the Simpsons writers as it is for the rest of us?
Right, possibly no. Disney time is different.
It's just weird because, in the teens era as well, that's when, they were still, on network television and having to cut down their episode time to make way for more ads per network demands. And now we're in the streaming era. The episode time length is back to being sort of the loose 21, 23-minute sort of episode. So, and then in the 20s, the season 20s, it was more common to do the elaborate couch gag that would take, 1 to 3 to 5 minutes. And now it's just no intro at all. And then, in these really long, meandering episodes that, we're saying, still need to be tightened severely.
Yeah, that's the thing. The old ones had streamlining and they sanded off all the edges and everything was quick and purposeful. And these modern ones don't, because they don't need to. So they don't.
Yeah, give the skip intro button something to do, Simpsons.
Yeah, come on. Because I thought I'd accidentally pressed it.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend of the 30s to the Simpsons into episode. Yeah. All right, we are here. It's time for everyone's final notes.
I feel like I should do a different song, but I did not prep anything.
Taylor's version.
Yeah, I don't know enough material to be able to riff on that. So, and now it's time for our final notes. Everyone's final notes.
Everyone's final notes. Romeo something or...
Ooh, look what you final note. Look what you final note.
It's me. Hi, I'm the final note. It's me.
This sick note. Sorry.
You could have been getting down to this sick note.
There we go.
Oh,
Workshopping is great.
Nick, do you have any sick notes?
Yeah, I got a couple of final notes. We haven't even talked about the very first scene in this episode, which is Bart and Homer go to a baseball game to see a pitcher break the world record for most number of batters knocked unconscious. As a cricket fan, and about 10 years ago, we lost a cricket player who he died on the pitch after being hit in the head with a cricket ball.
Oh, damn.
Holy shit.
Not a great joke. And he was an Australian cricketer too. Like, it's not some, backyard player, which obviously would have been sad too, but this was very prominent. But not a great way to open the storyline. But anyway, this turns out to be a flash mob event for Ashley Starling. And at one point, Bart asks, why are there so many girls here? Because imagine girls being at a sporting event. But also, he says, why are they all asking each other if they've got lipstick in their teeth? And then you hear a few of them say, like, oh, I got lipstick on my teeth. And then the hot dog place is sold out, and some of the girls are asking, do I have hot dog in my teeth? That actually made me laugh out loud.
I got that, yeah. Just because it's the same background kind of money. Do I have hot dog in my teeth?
Do I have hot dog in my teeth?
Yeah,
I was going to ask, was this a thing as well? Did like Taylor Swift do a random drop at an event that wasn't otherwise related to music or anything?
Say, did Taylor have hot dog in her teeth during one of the music clips?
Is that like an Instagram thing? Is it a meme that she had hot dog in her teeth? No, I mean, she's never hijacked a sporting event. She's announced, at MTV Music Awards, I think she announced an album that was coming out, but then it's not like she's then hijacked the event and refused to let the event go on. So
yeah, it's always been in an appropriate forum.
Yeah. Totally. Homer gets a message when the prank starts saying, enjoy your swatting. And then it's sealed with a tent fumigation. Very, very good.
I liked that, yeah.
There's a conversation where Lisa says one of the pranks is going to be Tabasco toilet paper. Fucking brutal.
Yep.
Those are all my notes.
BT, any notes?
There's a bit where they name drop Pete Davidson, and Homer's like, oh, he's got big diss energy, and I was like, fuck. Come on. That's, I heard that one clunk pretty hard. That was what, like 4 or 5 years ago that was a thing? Come on.
Yeah, I feel like that's another thing with this episode. A lot of these feel dated now. I don't know how this episode's going to play in another 5-10 years.
Not well. Almost as good as, what are you doing in Springfield, Elon Musk?
You're smart.
I know.
I actually re-listened to our podcast of review of that and it's like, oh my God, please don't be on the Elon train at this stage in our life. And we're clear. We didn't say anything positive about the dude.
He rules. No.
Dogecoin to the moon, baby.
I remember when we were saying that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. There's a bit where there's a whole bunch of swarm of birds above the house, and it just looks really good. It's a good swarm. Nice.
Oh, I will counter that one. There was a particular bird's eye view shot of Homer walking to his car that was fucked. Seriously, go back. It's right at the start of the episode after the baseball scene. Homer's walking from his house to the car, and they've just drawn it fucked. It looks so bad.
When Homer finds out Bart's been part of the pranking, he's like, you, the person I would most suspect. It's like, okay, that feels pretty classic.
Yep.
Ashley is fast and a bitch because she gets that music video out in a day.
Yeah.
I did notice they do the lower left-hand side music, song, artist, album, all that. It was done by Overnight Turnaround Productions or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, it would need to, but even then, damn.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
That's a good get.
Yeah. And my last notes were really just what is happening and so what. So,
oh yeah. So what by Pink. Who's What Is Happening by?
I'm actually referencing Miles Davis. Thank you very much.
Oh. Gee, sorry, I wasn't prepared to make that giant step. That's
No.
not Miles Davis. That's the
No, I'll
Brubeck.
take it for the Jazz.
Is it Brubeck?
Coltrane.
Coltrane.
You missed the Coltrane.
You mixing up your Coltrane and Brubeck references, Nick. Take 5. Do that, do that, do that, do that, do that, da, da.
Oh.
And my final notes.
Hang on. Elliot.
Sorry, go.
Elliot, what are your final notes?
Oh, now it's time for my final notes. They reference BTS a couple of times as well, the Korean pop boy band of these, another rabid fan base that...
Totally. And I took those references to be a little bit like that South Park episode about Scientology, where they were like, come on, sue us, come for us. I took that to be like,
A little goading.
but we're definitely not making fun about the fan base that could actually genuinely bring down Fox Studios if they wanted to.
Yeah, I was going to say, this feels a little bit like maybe that's what they actually wanted to do, but they were genuinely scared.
Yeah.
Well, for Simpsons to make news other than... Because, most of Simpsons news these days, it's like, these episodes are surprisingly okay.
Don't want to mess with that hype train.
No. The rabid Simpsons fan base are not strong and...
Not rabid as they used to be.
They don't have the numbers.
We're all tired and our knees hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of us are actually rabid.
Not in this country. For those that didn't know, Australia is rabies-free. Well done, us.
Yeah, well, nice.
Hey,
Pat on the back,
nice.
everyone. We did it together.
Yeah.
Speaking of rabies, there's a good joke about babies, a.k.a. Maggie.
Flawless segue as always, Elliot. Jesus. It was amazing.
I liked Homer's line of, Maggie, you're the worst. You know, evil triumphs when good babies do nothing. I thought that was a pretty good line. And then, when they don't know where Homer is and, like, they've tried opening the can opener to try and rouse him and did nothing, Marge is like, all right, I'll start calling theme park jails. I like that line.
Yeah, theme park jail's good.
It's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using a 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe this episode was just meh. You give it a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold, but for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Man, I'm so surprised because I'm like right on that bronze participant borderline, whatever we call it, participants.
It's bronze participant now.
Bronze participant. Sounds like an English lord with an incontinence problem. Have you met my friend? Bronze participant. I pissed my bed.
He's up on the roof.
Well, that's the thing. He should have probably been fired, but, he's still doing his job somewhat competently, despite the fact that he has, pissed his undergarments. So
My gusset's all moist.
So, I am giving this one a bronze with the caveat that it did piss itself, BT.
I mean, I've definitely moved my opinion up a little bit. The idea there's enough knowledge of what it's talking about to hide a bunch of references in the background. That said, from a non-Swiftie fan base perspective, there's just not a lot of story here, and I kind of just didn't feel much of anything or laugh all that much, so I am gonna participant.
Nick, finish it off, please.
Yeah. I almost feel like I have to do the BT thing of saying two different options out loud and seeing which one sticks, because all the various little bits and pieces that I picked up on, like what was written on their shirts and all the other hints at various parts of the Swiftiverse, is almost enough to bring it to a silver for me.
Ooh,
and I really enjoyed the glitter song.
It was good.
Yeah, but then ultimately it is also an episode that felt a little bit hollow and a little bit empty. So silver, bronze. I think it has to be bronze. I don't think in good conscience I can give this a silver.
No, not giving that Swiftie silver, getting the Swift elevation.
I mean, when you put it like that, I think I'll stick with bronze.
All right, that will get a dull bronze, and just from a quick look on the spreadsheet, it'll be tied for second best episode. With From Beer to a Paternity, an episode which I do not remember.
Oh. Second best episode of season 34. Just to be clear, if this is anyone's first time listening and they're like, "Really, this is the second is tied for first?" Fucking hell! Not the
Like, wow.
not the monorail episode.
No,
Yeah, this is getting our highest rank ever, a silver.
It's the one where Lisa poses as Duffman's daughter to get
Oh, yeah.
and
That's a
Aubrey
little all
Plaza
over
is
the place.
Duffman's real daughter. Anyway, it's tied with that.
Sure.
I mean, to be fair to that episode, I think this one's probably better, but basing that off a half-remembered episode. So.
Way more memorable, at least. I feel like, this one might stick in it has a chance to stick in my memory more. But also, the fun times had with you guys today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
really,
the friends we made along the way.
yeah. And isn't that the only thing that matters?
Isn't that the real participant?
Us.
A real bronze participant.
Us.
Bronze participant, we're going to walk around. Yeah. Bronze participant.
Oh, it's lovely that, in episode 246, we still got time for new running bits.
Yeah, hell yeah. Dude, you wouldn't go running, though. Not if you're bronze participant. Squelch.
Listeners, if your bits are running, please see a doctor.
Please.
Captain Nick, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a delight to be on the Index, the online spreadsheet, which is also a spreadsheet. Happy to be back anytime. Even if there's not a Simpsons episode, if you just want to talk about Taylor Swift for a while, I'll fucking be here.
I mean, we always need new fodder for the Patreon, so...
Well, hey.
Absolutely. But we'll get to plugging that. Do you have anything you'd like to plug, Nick?
No, I mean, people can follow me on Twitter if they want. Nick Ibis. I don't really do anything on there. Is it still called Twitter, or do we have to say X now?
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Much like Coke Zero, I'm not changing.
You can follow me on Threads. I'm Nick Ibe. I don't do anything on there either. I don't really do anything.
Yeah, that's it. I've gotten Threads, and someone gave me a fucking Blue Sky invite to the other day, and I'm just like, do I actually want to be doing this shit? Like,
yeah, I mean, we've all done ruin a movie with one word. Like, we've all done the very peak of what Twitter was capable of doing, and we did it in 2014, and we're still fucking here for some reason.
The party's over, everyone's still here.
Yeah, exactly. I do feel like at times Twitter was a time and a place, but you know what? You can still follow us on there. We'll still do the episode updates, maybe. Sometimes I forget. But I think, we'll probably be focusing more on Instagram and Threads going forward. But, I mean... yeah, I'll drop links to that stuff, Nick, and your shirts that are up on Redbubble as well.
Oh, geez, yeah. So I've got a couple of different things. I've got some on Redbubble, including my Real Melvin shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Uncool Real Melvin.
Old-fashioned uncool.
If you want to tell the world, you are.
Yeah, exactly.
An uncool Real Melvin.
Exactly. And then on Threadless, on nickibis.threadless.com, I did some... speaking of Blink-182, speaking of going on a Blink-182 tour attending excursion, I got some T-shirts designed a while ago based on their 1999/2000 guitar and bass rigs. The aliens exist, no they don't rigs. Also, Fender have just recently re-released the Tom DeLonge Stratocaster, of which I have ordered one. So that's $2,400 that I probably don't need to be spending, but hey, I wanted that guitar for literally 23 years now. So
nice.
No, I was very jealous of that purchase. Like that looks like it's going to be an absolute gem in your collection.
I used to have a Mark Hoppus bass as well, but I sold it, and I'm so annoyed.
Oh, Devo.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, still, your Music Man Sterling is it? Is it Stingray or Stingray? It's a Stingray.
Stingray.
But it's sparkly green and it's beautiful and it's fucking... oh, I'm so envious. But yeah, I'll have to grab one of those shirts in time for the gig next year, it seems. You grabbed a shirt or a coffee mug, Beach?
Coffee mug. And I must say, ever since purchasing this coffee mug with the design from nickibis.threadless.com, my life has improved significantly and maggots no longer eat my blankets every night. So...
well, speaking of websites that our listeners can go to that'll guarantee enjoyment and maggotless beds, where can they go if they want to hear more of us?
Elliot, we can no longer guarantee maggotless beds, I'm sorry. But you can go to patreon.com/sidequeststudios, where for less than the price of calling a fumigator to get rid of all the maggots in your house, you can join the Patreon and you can get access to over 100, that's right, over 100 exclusive podcasts available right now. That's patreon.com/sidequeststudios.
Yeah, we got a lot of Simpsons focused content going on over there. We're reviewing the bonus features that were on the DVD box sets. We're catching up Beach on all the episodes of the show that he wasn't there for when we reviewed them on this podcast feed.
Yeah.
And we're you'd love this one, Nick. We're also reviewing movies that star the cast of The Simpsons.
Oh, yes, starring Springfield? Is that what it's
That
called?
is right.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the things I use Twitter for still is like, hey, we're on Patreon. We reviewed this. Come over, check it out. Yeah.
And also we just did audio commentary on the Pulp Fury radio series. We just wrapped that. That was a lot of fun to revisit those and talk about how, a little behind the scenes peek on how all that came together.
Yeah.
I've gone back to listen to, I forget the name of it now, but the one on the train.
Last Known Sighting of Irma Strauss.
Yeah, I've gone back to listen to that a few times. I really enjoyed all of Pulp Fury, but that episode really tickled me, so I've gone back to it a few times.
Nice.
It's really, really cool stuff. I genuinely recommend it for anyone that hasn't listened to it yet.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, might as well throw the plug in there with the glowing endorsement from Captain Nick there. Yeah, that's pulpfuryradio.com to listen to that podcast. Yeah, it's all up there. It's all for free.
And on any podcatcher. If you want a bit more fiction in your podcasting diet, that's where you go, you bastards.
But if you want to then hear those podcasts again, but with our commentaries, patreon.com/sidequeststudios.
Yeah.
But for now, I think that's about it for the Simpsons Index. Yeah, once again, thank you very much for joining us, Nick.
No worries. Thanks for having me. And stay tuned for the deleted scenes where I'm going to plug in that guitar and try to play that glitter song.
Hell yeah. But before then, Beach, thank you very much, as always.
I didn't think of an exit line, so...
Wuzzle wuzzle.
That's a great exit line.
It is.
And I've been Elliot Jay O'Neill, and here's my exit line. That's all the mustard in the house. Went a little Fred Schneider there. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can also check out our other shows, like Pulp Fury Radio, our scripted fiction podcast, which tells all original stories across a range of pulp genres, and Thrones of Game, where we review Game of Thrones in reverse order. Links to those podcasts and more will be available in the show notes. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Wham. Really? You worked out how to play it?
Yeah, man. Hang on.
Nice, this is going to be a treat. It's a beautiful maiden, nice.
Oh, and a beautiful green capo there.
You said capo, I always said capo.
It's not short for anything, is it?
I've always said capo as well, for what it's worth.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think Danny even put up like a thing on some social of how the hell do you pronounce this, just to get people's read on how they do it.
Yeah.
I have no idea, so.
I had a pick around here somewhere.
A plectrum.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Because it's running through my little mixing desk, so hopefully it'll all just work out fine.
Oh, lovely. Little bit of echo there now.
Yeah, I turned my reverb on.
Hell yeah.
You broke my heart into a million pieces, and like glitter, those pieces shine. They reflect all the bad things you said and did. Now I can't get them out of my mind. I'm not bitter, now I'm glitter. You threw me away like glitter. I'm not bitter. You threw me away. I bet your new girl will find pieces of me everywhere like glitter.
Hey.
It's really cool.
Nice.
Also, yeah, that was one thing that we didn't mention throughout the fucking review. Yeah, how annoying that would goddamn be. Like, I've never dated girls that were like all glittery or whatever, but when they decide to glitter up, you know about that shit for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, do I believe that Elliot has never dated a woo girl?
I mean, not that I've ever noted. If he has, he's kept it secret. But we'd see the glittery fingerprints everywhere, so...
Yeah, exactly. I'd leave a trail. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why woo girls don't commit murders, because...
So there's the name of your album, Woo Girls Don't Commit Murders. I'm going to write that down. That's fun.
Except it's not like an acoustic country album. It's just like violent dance music or something.
Yeah, if that's not an episode of Pulp Fury in the future, I don't know.
And is it going to be one of those, like, you know that thing in movies where, like, they said the name of the film? There's going to be one line where it's like, but woo girls don't commit murders.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't know, but the number of times I've started with the title and worked backwards and ended up with a thing, it happens.
Yeah.
Is that how the train one came about? The last sighting of Irma Strauss? You were like, yeah, I've got a fully fleshed out story that gives me inspiration for.
This was your
no.
put up or shut up
Yeah,
episode,
that
wasn't
was.
it?
I came up with that one after seeing The Hateful Eight and really hating the second half of it.
Oh, right.
So it was.
Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
But ones that started with a title, it came from the bottom of the ocean, but also from space.
Good.
Started with a title. So did Terror in the Walls. Began with a title, and I worked backwards. So I do it a lot.
That rules.
So.
Yeah, cool. I might stop my record.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, shit. That's all the bonus you get.